The escape pod drifted silent and cold through the void, its hull scarred by plasma burns from the attack that had destroyed the celestial harmony. Inside, Zefka of the Altarian Council wheezed through damaged breathing apparatus, his 4 arms trembling as he tried to conserve what little oxygen remained. The translucent blue blood seeping from his wounds had long since frozen into crystalline patches across his carapace. 3 cycles had passed since the hegemony raiders had ambushed their diplomatic vessel. 3 cycles of watching his life support systems fail one by one, of sending distress signals into the endless dark with no response. The galaxy had moved on, leaving him to die alone in the space between stars. Zefka had accepted his fate. The Altarian people were peaceful traders and diplomats, not warriors. When the hegemony had declared war on the outer systems, his people had tried negotiation, offering tribute and trade agreements. The raiders had responded with plasma fire and boarding parties, taking what they wanted and leaving wreckage in their wake. His compound eyes began to dim as hypoxia set in. Soon, he would join his ancestors in the Great Current, his consciousness flowing back to the cosmic sea from which all Altarians believed they came. He whispered a prayer in the old tongue, asking forgiveness for his failure to secure peace. That's when the shadows shifted. Something massive occluded the distant stars, blotting out entire constellations. Zefka's failing vision struggled to focus on the approaching shape. It was enormous, easily 10 times the size of the largest Altarian vessel, and bristling with weapon arrays that could reduce a moon to dust. The hull bore markings he didn't recognize, angular symbols in a harsh, geometric script. A new player had entered the game. The behemoth's scanning beams swept over his pod, and within moments, a transmission crackled through his communications array. The voice that emerged was unlike anything in the galactic database, rough, guttural, but somehow conveying both authority and concern. Unknown vessel, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Federation Dreadnought Indomitable. We're detecting critical life support failure aboard your craft. Do you require assistance? Terran Federation. Zefka had never heard of this species. The galaxy was vast, but the Council prided itself on maintaining diplomatic contact with all spacefaring civilizations. Who were these newcomers? This is Zefka of the Altarian Council, he managed to rasp into his transmitter. My vessel was destroyed by hegemony raiders. I am dying. Not on my watch, came the immediate reply. Stand by for emergency retrieval. The massive ship maneuvered with surprising grace for its size, extending mechanical arms that gently captured his pod. As the tiny craft was drawn into a cavernous hangar bay, Zefka caught glimpses of smaller vessels, sleek fighters and armored shuttles that looked purpose-built for war. Everything about this ship screamed military efficiency and barely contained violence. The hangar pressurized, and figures in environmental suits approached his pod. When the hatch opened and he got his first look at a human, Zefka nearly fainted. They were bipedal like many species, but something in their eyes spoke of a predator ancestry. Even as they worked to stabilize his condition with what appeared to be universal medical equipment, he could sense the controlled aggression that seemed to radiate from them. Easy there, friend, said the human who had identified herself as Captain Chen. She had removed her helmet, revealing features that were both alien and somehow familiar. Our medical team is prepping a biobed for you. You're going to be fine. As they carried him through the ship's corridors, Zefka marveled at the scale of the operation. Thousands of humans moved with military precision, their faces hard but their actions speaking of a fierce loyalty to their shipmates. The walls displayed tactical readouts showing hegemony fleet movements throughout the sector. You're hunting them, Zefka whispered as they reached the medical bay. Captain Chen's expression darkened. The hegemony made a mistake when they started targeting civilian vessels. We've been tracking their raiding parties for months, following the trail of debris and distress calls. She paused, studying readouts that showed the locations of destroyed ships. They picked a fight with the wrong species. But why? Zefka asked as medical technicians worked to stabilize his condition. Why risk your ships for strangers? The captain's smile was cold as vacuum. Because that's what humans do. We've been the underdogs before, had our worlds burned and our people scattered. Nobody came to help us then, so we learned to help ourselves. She gestured toward the tactical displays. The hegemony thinks they can terrorize the galaxy into submission. They're about to learn what happens when you threaten the innocent while humans are watching. Through the medical bay's viewport, Zefka could see other ships joining the Indomitable, dozens of human vessels emerging from hyperspace with weapon systems already charging. The fleet that assembled looked like it could challenge the hegemony's entire Western offensive. We're not the biggest species in the galaxy, Captain Chen continued, and we're certainly not the oldest. But we might just be the most stubborn. The hegemony wants to rule through fear. Let's show them what terror really looks like. As the human fleet accelerated toward the hegemony's staging area, Zefka realized that the balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift dramatic. The humans had arrived not as conquerors, but as guardians, and the predators who had stalked the spaceways were about to become prey. The age of human intervention had begun.